Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself stuck working for hours on something that should have taken only minutes? I'm here to tell you that there's a breakthrough waiting for you, a secret that the world's most successful people already use every day. It's called the power of flow, and once you harness it, you'll transform every challenge into unstoppable progress. Imagine a life where every action you take is fueled by deep, unyielding focus. A state where work feels effortless, creativity soars, and the world around you seems to fall away. This isn't a fantasy. It's a state of mind, a powerful condition your brain is naturally wired to achieve. And today I'm going to share with you the 4 pillars that unlock this incredible state. Imagine waking up each morning to the sound of opportunity knocking at your door. In those quiet, precious early hours, your mind is fresh, unburdened, and filled with potential waiting to be unleashed. Yet in today's fast-paced, digitally driven world, distractions have become the invisible chains that hold you back from accessing your true power. It all begins in that very moment when you open your eyes and reach instinctively for your phone, surrendering yourself to a flood of notifications, social media updates, and mindless scrolling. Instead of harnessing the transformative energy of the morning, you become entangled in a web of distractions that dilute your focus and obscure your vision. What if you could break free from this cycle and reclaim your mornings as a launchpad for success? Every day, the moment you allow these distractions to invade your space, you rob yourself of the chance to enter a state of deep, unshakable focus, what many refer to as flow. This state of flow is where your mind operates at its absolute best, where creativity is sparked, and where challenges transform into opportunities. Distractions are not simply minor inconveniences. They are powerful saboteurs that block your path to excellence. They disrupt your thoughts, erode your concentration, and ultimately hinder your ability to perform at your peak. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming control over your day and your destiny. The immense value of those early hours when your brain is still at its most potent. In that quiet period before the external world clamors for your attention, you have the unique opportunity to set the tone for the rest of your day. By deliberately eliminating distractions at this critical juncture, you create a sacred space for focused work, personal reflection, and goal set. Instead of being pulled into a constant cycle of interruptions, you transform your mornings into a fortress of productivity where your highest priorities receive the undivided attention they deserve. This simple act of discipline has the power to unlock a reservoir of energy and potential that can drive you toward your dreams. When you decide to put aside the lure of your phone and other digital temptations, you are making a powerful declaration to yourself. You are saying, I am worthy of this time. I deserve to invest in my growth, my creativity, and my future. It is a commitment to prioritize your aspirations over the fleeting distractions that clutter your mind. This intentional choice is not about being overly strict or denying yourself pleasure. It is about respecting the sanctity of your time. Every moment that you guard against distractions is a moment invested in building a future defined by purpose and achievement. Imagine the long-term impact of consistently protecting your morning routine from distractions. Each day that you resist the pull of unnecessary interruptions, you are strengthening a habit of focus and discipline that extends far beyond the morning hours. Over time, this disciplined approach becomes second nature, enabling you to maintain a high level of concentration even when challenges arise later in the day. It is like training a muscle. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone or get sidetracked, you build a stronger capacity for sustained focus. This cumulative effect leads to remarkable growth both personally and professionally as you steadily enhance your ability to navigate the demands of a complex world. There is also a profound emotional benefit to eliminating distractions. Every time you allow your attention to be hijacked by trivial matters, you inadvertently signal to yourself that your potential is secondary. In contrast, when you choose to guard your morning time, you affirm your value and your innate ability. You create a mental environment where self-respect and confidence flourish. This boost in self-esteem reinforces your commitment to your goals and encourages you to push forward even in the face of adversity. It serves as a constant reminder that every day is a new opportunity to focus on what truly matters and to build the life you envision. Reclaiming your mornings by eliminating distractions is an investment in yourself. It is a conscious choice to protect your most valuable asset, your mind, and to harness its full capacity for creativity, innovation, and success. Embrace the power of a distraction-free morning, and you will discover that the clarity, energy, and purpose cultivated during these moments set the stage for extraordinary achievements throughout your day. In this way, every morning becomes not just the start of a new day, but the beginning of a journey toward unlocking your true potential and living a life of fulfillment and accomplishment. When you wake up each morning, you're given a fresh start, a blank canvas filled with boundless energy and potential. In those first few moments before the world begins to intrude, your mind is operating in a state of clarity and openness. This is your prime mental energy at work, a rare and powerful resource that many overlook. It's in these moments, unclouded by distractions or the pressures of the day ahead, that you have the unique opportunity to tap into your most creative and productive self. Your brain, just emerging from the restorative state of sleep, is in a unique condition. The remnants of the deep, slow-wave sleep have left your mind clear and receptive, and the transition from dreaming to waking is like opening a door to a room filled with endless possibilities. The neural pathways are fresh, and your cognitive abilities are at their peak. In this ideal state, the capacity for concentration, creativity, and problem solving is heightened, providing the perfect foundation for what experts call flow. Flow is that intense state of focus and effortless productivity that allows you to perform at your very best. By immediately engaging in your most important work, you align yourself with this natural rhythm, setting a tone of excellence for the entire day. Embracing your prime mental energy isn't about forcing yourself to be productive for the sake of productivity. It's about honoring the gift of that early morning clarity and using it to build momentum. When you rise and set your intentions for the day, you are consciously deciding to harness this energy. It might mean diving into a creative project, tackling a challenging work task, or even setting aside time for strategic planning. Whatever it is, by choosing to focus on what truly matters right at the start, you cultivate a habit that not only elevates your performance, but also builds resilience against the inevitable distractions that come later. This practice is both a declaration of self-respect and an investment in your future. In those early moments of the day, when external demands have yet to invade your mental space, you reclaim ownership over your time and focus. By engaging immediately with your priorities, you reinforce a powerful message to yourself. You are in charge of your day, and you have the strength to shape it as you see fit. This conscious act of taking control is transformative. It builds a positive feedback loop where each successful, focused morning reinforces your ability to remain disciplined and intent, no matter what challenges the day may bring. The benefits of tapping into your prime mental energy extend far beyond productivity. There's a profound psychological impact when you begin your day aligned with your deepest goals and values. When you honor your mind's natural rhythm, you foster a sense of purpose and clarity that reverberates throughout every aspect of your life. It shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive, from being at the mercy of external circumstances to steering your own course. The result is a heightened sense of self-efficacy, where every decision, every action is imbued with the confidence that comes from knowing you are operating at your best. The process of harnessing this early energy is simple in concept, but profound in its effects. It requires a commitment to resisting the pull of distractions, such as the lure of checking your phone or scrolling through social media. These modern interruptions are designed to break your focus and divert you from your true intentions. Instead, by creating a sanctuary for your thoughts and actions first thing in the morning, you protect that precious window of clarity. Over time, this discipline becomes a habit, a ritual, that conditions your mind to naturally seek out that state of flow every day. Imagine the cumulative impact of consistently engaging your most important work during those early hours. Each morning becomes a building block, adding to a foundation of discipline, creativity, and achievement. Day by day, you'll notice that challenges become less daunting and obstacles more surmountable because you've already tapped into the wellspring of your potential. This is not just about getting more done, it's about transforming your relationship with work and life. You become more present, more engaged, and more resilient. You learn to trust in your innate ability to rise above the chaos and direct your energy towards meaningful progress. In essence, harnessing your prime mental energy means aligning with the natural ebb and flow of your mind. It's about recognizing that those first moments of the day are not just a precursor to the rest of your schedule, but a powerful launch pad for your dreams and ambitions. Embrace this time, commit to your highest priorities, and watch as your day transforms into a journey of focused achievement and inner strength. Picture a moment when you were completely absorbed in something. A time when everything seemed to click effortlessly. Maybe you were deep in a creative project, solving a challenging problem, or playing a sport where your body moved in perfect sync with your mind. Time seemed to melt away, distractions disappeared, and you performed at a level beyond your usual capability. That state of total immersion, where work feels effortless and progress comes naturally, is called flow. Flow is not just a lucky accident. It is a scientifically studied phenomenon, a state of peak performance where the brain and body operate in perfect harmony. When you enter flow, your cognitive and physical abilities skyrocket. Your focus sharpens, your creativity soars, and your problem-solving skills become razor sharp. It's the feeling that world-class athletes, top musicians, and high-level professionals experience when they're performing at their absolute best. But here's the thing, flow is not reserved for the elite. It's not some mystical force that only a few chosen individuals can tap into. It's a mental state that anyone can cultivate with the right approach. What makes flow possible? It's not magic, it's science. When you enter flow, your brain undergoes a powerful transformation. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-doubt, overthinking, and hesitation, actually slows down. This process, called transient hypofrontality, allows you to bypass the inner critic that often holds you back. In this state, you're no longer second-guessing yourself. You're just doing. You're fully present in the moment, reacting instinctively, and tapping into your full potential without hesitation. Your brain releases a cocktail of performance-enhancing neurochemicals, dopamine, norepinephrine, anandamide, serotonin, endorphins. These chemicals work together to boost motivation, increase focus, enhance creativity, and even reduce pain. It's no wonder that the greatest breakthroughs in history, scientific discoveries, artistic masterpieces, and groundbreaking inventions have often happened in a flow state. The challenge, however, is that flow doesn't happen by accident. Most people go through life never truly experiencing deep flow because they haven't structured their environment or habits in a way that allows them to access it consistently. Instead, they are bombarded with distractions, notifications, emails, social media, and the constant pull of multitasking. The modern world is designed to fragment attention, making it harder and harder to enter the deep, uninterrupted focus required for flow. The key to unlocking flow consistently is understanding its triggers. Researchers have identified several conditions that make flow more likely to occur. The first is having clear goals. When you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, your brain can fully engage with the task at hand. Ambiguity and uncertainty pull you away from flow, but clarity locks you in. The second is immediate feedback. Your brain thrives on knowing whether you're making progress, whether it's a musician adjusting their performance based on the sound they hear, a coder fixing bugs in real time, or a writer refining a sentence as they type. Immediate feedback keeps you engaged and motivated. The most important trigger of flow is the challenge, skills, balance. Flow happens when the difficulty of a task is slightly beyond your current skill level, about 4% harder than what you're comfortable with. If a task is too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get anxious. But when the challenge is just right, you enter the sweet spot where engagement and performance peak. This is why activities like rock climbing, surfing, or playing a musical instrument often produce flow naturally. The challenge is always evolving, always pushing you just beyond your comfort zone, forcing you to stay fully engaged. But the beauty of this concept is that it can be applied to any area of life. Whether you're working on a major project, learning a new skill, or striving for a personal goal, you can deliberately adjust the difficulty level to keep yourself engaged and in flow. To make flow a regular part of your life, you have to eliminate distractions. Multitasking is the enemy of flow. Every time you switch tasks, checking your phone, responding to an email, or jumping between projects, you break your brain's ability to focus deeply. Studies show that it can take over 20 minutes to regain full concentration after an interruption. That's why the most productive people in the world protect their deep work time like their life depends on it. They create environments that are free from distractions, set clear objectives, and work in focused, uninterrupted sprints. Crucial aspect of flow is training your attention span. In today's world, where endless digital distractions have shortened our ability to focus, retraining your brain to sustain deep focus is more important than ever. Simple habits like reading a book without checking your phone, meditating for a few minutes each day, or gradually increasing the time you spend in deep work can strengthen your ability to enter flow more consistently. When you start applying these principles, something incredible happens. Work stops feeling like a struggle. Instead of forcing yourself to push through tasks, you start looking forward to them because they become immersive and enjoyable. Productivity skyrockets, not because you're working harder, but because you're working smarter. You begin to operate in a state where everything feels effortless, where creativity flows freely, and where you accomplish more in a few focused hours than most people do in an entire day. Flow is the secret weapon of the highest achievers. It's the key to unlocking your full potential, to producing work that is not only efficient, but deeply fulfilling. It's not about working more, it's about working in a way that aligns with how your brain functions at its best. Once you understand this, you no longer have to battle procrastination, motivation, or burnout. Instead, you tap into an energy source that allows you to perform at your peak every single day. Imagine waking up in the morning, feeling ready to take on the day. But the moment you check your phone, your mind is hijacked. You open an email that demands your immediate attention, scroll through social media filled with information you don't need, and suddenly, your energy is drained before you've even started working. By the time you sit down to tackle your most important task, your focus is scattered, your motivation is low, and distractions keep pulling you in every direction. This is the reality for most people, and it's one of the biggest reasons why they struggle to get into flow. The peak state of effortless productivity. Flow blockers are the hidden obstacles standing between you and your ability to perform at your highest level. They are the invisible forces that keep you from tapping into deep focus and working with intensity. The modern world is designed to interrupt, distract, and overload your brain, making it nearly impossible to enter the state of flow, where progress feels effortless and time seems to disappear. Understanding and eliminating these blockers is the first step toward unlocking a level of productivity you never thought possible. The biggest flow blockers is digital distraction. The constant notifications, endless social media feeds, and the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning all create a fragmented attention span. Studies show that every time you check your phone or switch tasks, it takes your brain over 20 minutes to regain full concentration. This means that if you're constantly switching between tasks, checking messages, or reacting to emails, you're never giving your brain a chance to enter deep work. Solution? Implement a simple rule: flow before phone. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, dedicate the first 2 to 3 hours of your day to focused, uninterrupted work. This small change alone can drastically improve your ability to access flow. When you sit down to work without a clear plan, your brain hesitates. It doesn't know where to start, so it procrastinates. This uncertainty creates mental friction that prevents you from fully engaging in your work. To overcome this, you need to create a structured plan before you begin. Having a clear goal and a defined next step eliminates hesitation and allows you to dive into deep focus immediately. This is why the most successful people plan their day in advance. They remove decision fatigue and set themselves up for effortless execution. Chronic stress is another hidden enemy of flow. When you're constantly overwhelmed, anxious, or operating in a state of high tension, your brain simply can't enter flow. Flow requires a balance between challenge and relaxation. If you're constantly rushing from one task to another, overloading yourself with commitments, or working in a state of exhaustion, your brain will resist flow. The solution is to incorporate deliberate recovery into your day. Short breaks, deep breathing, physical movement, and even moments of mindfulness help reset your brain and prepare it for deep focus. Flow is not about grinding harder. It's about working smarter by creating the right conditions for your brain to operate at its peak. Multitasking is a major flow killer. The belief that you can juggle multiple tasks at once is a myth. Every time you switch from one task to another, your brain experiences a cognitive lag. This means you're not fully present in any task, reducing your efficiency and making flow impossible. The best way to eliminate this blocker is through single tasking, giving your full, undivided attention to one task at a time. Research has shown that working in deep, uninterrupted blocks of time leads to exponentially higher productivity than constantly switching between tasks. Your environment also plays a crucial role in your ability to access flow. A cluttered, noisy, or chaotic workspace makes it difficult to focus. If your phone is within reach, if your workspace is filled with distractions, or if you're constantly interrupted, you are actively sabotaging your ability to get into flow. Optimizing your environment for deep work is essential. This means setting up a distraction-free workspace, using noise-canceling headphones if necessary, and letting others know when you are in deep work mode. The most overlooked flow blocker is mental exhaustion. If you're not getting enough sleep, if your energy levels are constantly drained, or if you're pushing yourself beyond your limits without recovery, your brain won't have the capacity to enter flow. Sleep is one of the most powerful productivity enhancers. It is during sleep that your brain consolidates learning, repairs itself, and prepares for high-performance thinking. If you're serious about accessing flow consistently, prioritizing high-quality sleep is non-negotiable. Many people go through their entire lives battling these blockers without realizing they exist. They struggle with motivation, they procrastinate, and they feel stuck in a cycle of stress and distraction. But the moment you start removing these flow blockers, everything changes. Suddenly, work doesn't feel like a battle. You get more done in a few hours than you used to accomplish in an entire day. You no longer feel drained because you're working in a way that aligns with how your brain is designed to function at its best. Eliminating flow blockers isn't about making massive, overwhelming changes overnight. It's about making small, deliberate shifts that create a ripple effect in your ability to focus and perform. It starts with something as simple as keeping your phone off for the first few hours of the day. It's about setting clear goals, creating an environment that supports deep work, and training yourself to focus on one task at a time. Over time, these small shifts compound, and before you know it, you're operating in a state of effortless productivity every single day. The highest achievers in the world aren't necessarily smarter or more talented than everyone else. They've just learned how to remove the obstacles that prevent them from accessing flow. The key to unlocking your highest potential is not to work harder, but to eliminate the things that are slowing you down. When you do this, flow becomes natural, productivity becomes effortless, and you begin to operate at a level of focus and efficiency that most people never experience. Think about the moments in your life when you've felt completely immersed in an activity, so deeply engaged that time seemed to disappear, distractions faded, and everything just clicked. Maybe it was when you were writing, playing music, engaging in a sport, or working on a project that excited you. That state, where effort feels effortless and your performance reaches new heights, is known as flow. But most people struggle to access flow consistently. Even when they eliminate distractions and set the right conditions, they still find it difficult to trigger flow when they need it most. That's because they haven't mastered the science of flow triggers. Flow triggers are specific psychological and environmental factors that drive you into a state of deep focus and peak performance. These triggers work because they hack the brain's natural reward systems, activating the right neurochemicals and brainwaves that push you into flow. The more of these triggers you incorporate into your work, the easier it becomes to enter flow, the deeper that flow state will be, and the longer you'll be able to sustain it. The most powerful flow triggers is having clear goals. When you know exactly what you need to do and why it matters, your brain naturally narrows its focus and eliminates unnecessary distractions. Unclear or vague goals create hesitation, procrastination, and mental friction, all of which block flow. Imagine trying to shoot an arrow at a target while blindfolded. You wouldn't know where to aim, and you'd waste energy second-guessing yourself. But when the target is clear, every movement becomes intentional. The same principle applies to work. The more precise your goal, the more your brain can lock onto it, making it easier to enter flow. Critical trigger is immediate feedback. The human brain craves real-time input on how well it's performing. Without feedback, you're left guessing whether you're making progress or if adjustments are needed. This uncertainty keeps your brain in a hesitant state rather than allowing it to fully immerse in the task. Think about a musician playing an instrument. They can hear each note as they play. That immediate feedback loop keeps them engaged and helps them reach flow faster. The same applies to work. Whether it's reviewing what you've written, tracking your progress on a project, or receiving constructive feedback from a mentor, knowing how you're doing in real time fuels flow. The essential flow trigger is the challenge skills balance. Flow happens in the sweet spot between boredom and anxiety. If a task is too easy, your brain disengages. If it's too difficult, you become overwhelmed and frustrated. The key is to take on challenges that are just slightly beyond your current skill level, about 4% harder than what you're comfortable with. This slight stretch keeps you fully engaged without making you feel out of your depth. Athletes, artists, and top performers instinctively do this. They push themselves just enough to stay engaged, constantly growing their abilities while maintaining focus. If you're not getting into flow, ask yourself, is the task too easy? If so, make it more challenging. If it's too hard, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. Flow trigger is deep embodiment, which means fully engaging your body and senses in the activity. This is why activities like surfing, rock climbing, and dancing naturally produce flow. They demand full body awareness and quick decision-making, keeping the brain focused in the present moment. While most knowledge work isn't as physically demanding, you can still create embodiment by eliminating distractions and making your work environment immersive. This could mean using noise-canceling headphones, adjusting your workspace to enhance focus, or even working in a standing position to stay physically engaged. The more sensory involvement in your work, the easier it becomes to enter flow. A lesser known but highly effective flow trigger is high consequence. When something is on the line, Whether it's a deadline, a competition, or a public performance, your brain heightens its focus and sharpens its abilities. This is why extreme sports athletes and performers experience flow so frequently. The risks push them into hyper-awareness and total concentration. You can replicate this effect in your work by creating stakes for yourself. Set deadlines with real consequences. Commit publicly to a project, or challenge yourself to finish something in a shorter time frame. When there's something meaningful at stake, your brain stops procrastinating and locks into deep focus. Novelty is a powerful flow trigger. The brain thrives on new and interesting experiences. When you do the same tasks the same way every day, your brain starts to operate on autopilot, reducing engagement. But when you introduce something new, whether it's a new approach, a different environment, or a fresh challenge, it sparks curiosity and excitement, making it easier to enter flow. This is why traveling to a new place, working in a different setting, or experimenting with a new method often leads to a surge of creativity and focus. The flow trigger is deep concentration. Flow requires uninterrupted, focused attention. The modern world, filled with endless notifications, emails, and distractions, makes this incredibly difficult. To maximize deep concentration, you need to design your environment and habits around focus. This means setting clear boundaries with colleagues and family, scheduling dedicated time blocks for deep work, and using tools like the Pomodoro technique to train your brain for extended focus sessions. When you create a space where interruptions are minimized, your brain can finally drop into deep work mode. Most people never experience flow on a consistent basis because they don't intentionally create the conditions that lead to it. They wait for motivation, rely on willpower, or expect flow to happen naturally. But the truth is, flow is a state that can be deliberately cultivated. By integrating these triggers into your daily routine, you make it easier to tap into flow whenever you need it. A life where work doesn't feel like a struggle, where you can focus for hours without effort, and where you produce your best work consistently. That life is possible, but it requires action. You don't need to implement all these triggers at once. Start with one, set a clear goal for your next work session, eliminate distractions, or slightly increase the difficulty of your tasks. Each small shift will bring you closer to mastering flow. And once you do, you'll unlock a level of performance that most people only dream of. Imagine living in a world where every time you sat down to work, you could tap into a state of effortless productivity, where time seemed to slow down and your focus was razor sharp. This is not a dream. It's the reality of those who have mastered the flow cycle. Understanding and leveraging the flow cycle is the secret behind the world's highest achievers, allowing them to consistently perform at their best. Flow is not something that happens randomly or by luck. It follows a structured process, and once you learn to navigate it, you can enter this powerful state more often and for longer periods. The flow cycle consists of 4 key stages: struggle, release, flow, and recovery. Each of these stages is essential, and skipping or mishandling one can prevent you from accessing flow at all. Most people mistakenly believe that flow is a light switch. You're either in it or you're not. In reality, it's more like a dimmer switch, gradually turning up as you move through each stage. Struggle is often the hardest and most misunderstood. This is the phase where you're wrestling with a task, trying to learn something new, or pushing through resistance. It's uncomfortable, frustrating, and mentally exhausting. Your brain is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol and norepinephrine, making you feel restless and eager to escape. Most people give up here. They check their phones, take unnecessary breaks, or move on to something easier. But struggle is not the enemy, it's the necessary preparation for flow. Just like a muscle must be challenged to grow, your brain needs to be stretched to reach peak performance. The key is to stay in this phase long enough for your brain to engage, but not so long that you burn out. One of the best strategies to survive the struggle phase is attention span stretching, gradually increasing the time you spend in focused work before taking a break. Treat your attention like a muscle, increasing your endurance step by step. Once you've endured the struggle phase, the next step is release. This is when you step away from the problem, allowing your subconscious mind to take over. Many people overlook this stage, but it's just as critical as struggle. Releasing is not about procrastination. It's about shifting your brain into a different mode that allows connections to form effortlessly. This is why some of the best ideas come to people in the shower, during a walk, or while doing something completely unrelated to work. The key to release is to engage in a relaxing, low-stress activity, something that takes your mind off the task without overstimulating it. Meditation, light exercise, or listening to music can all serve as powerful release activities. This phase allows your brain to rewire itself, preparing you to enter flow. Then comes the magic moment, flow itself. If you've properly gone through struggle and release, you'll suddenly find yourself completely immersed in the task at hand. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-criticism, doubt, and overthinking, temporarily deactivates, freeing you from distractions and second guessing. Your brain is flooded with neurochemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, anandamide, and serotonin, creating a feeling of intense focus, creativity, and motivation. This is where peak performance happens. Athletes describe it as being in the zone, musicians call it losing themselves in the music, and writers experience it as words flowing effortlessly. Time seems to warp. Hours pass in what feels like minutes, but flow isn't just about feeling good. It dramatically enhances productivity, creativity, and learning speed. Studies show that people in flow are up to 5 times more productive than those outside of it. The final stage of the cycle is recovery. This is where many people go wrong. After an intense flow session, your brain and body need time to replenish the neurochemicals that were burned through. Many high performers make the mistake of skipping recovery, pushing themselves into burnout by trying to sustain flow indefinitely. But flow is a high-energy state that consumes mental and physical resources that must be restored. Proper recovery involves quality sleep, nutrition, hydration, and activities that promote relaxation. Engaging in something enjoyable and low stress, like spending time in nature, light exercise, or simply unwinding with loved ones, allows your brain to reset and prepare for the next cycle. Without proper recovery, the next struggle phase becomes more difficult, and the cycle breaks down. Mastering the flow cycle is about learning to move through each stage efficiently and intentionally. The more you practice, the faster you can transition from struggle to flow, and the deeper your flow states will become. Most people get stuck because they resist struggle, avoid release, or neglect recovery. But when you respect each stage of the cycle, you create a system for sustained high performance. Instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, you can engineer flow into your life on demand. The ability to access flow isn't reserved for elite athletes, world-class musicians, or tech geniuses. It's available to anyone willing to understand and apply the principles of the flow cycle. By embracing struggle, allowing release, diving into flow, and prioritizing recovery, you transform your work, your productivity, and ultimately your life. Flow isn't an accident, it's a skill. And once you master it, there's no limit to what you can achieve.